Hi, my name is Cathy and I grew up in Stone Mountain, Georgia, and I grew up with my mom and my dad, and I had one sister. I was adopted by my mom and dad when I was about 2.5 weeks of age, and I was the oldest child in the family. My mom and dad at the time believed that they were not going to be able to have a child, and funny how God works. About 2 months later, my mom was pregnant with my sister. I'm happy to say that my family today is very representative of the type of family that I grew up with. My husband Eric and I have 3 children. Connor, who's in 7th grade, Rowan is in 6th grade, and Kaylee is in 2nd grade. In regards to growing up, for myself personally, I never had the desire to find my birth mother or my birth father because I was a very happy and well-adjusted child. And it's interesting that as I grew up and matured and had my children of my own, that I began to have a deeper feeling inside that this was something that I probably did need to pursue. As I began to reflect regarding my birth mother, I probably began to spend more and more time thinking about her. And just, if it had been me, I think that I would have felt this overwhelming sense of guilt and also a sense of wonder of whether or not I had done the right thing in terms of giving my daughter up for adoption. And those thoughts just kept racing through my mind that I wanted her to know that what she had done was the right thing, that I had an amazing upbringing, that I was brought up in a Christian and loving home, and that I was very well adjusted. There was no feelings of anger towards her or frustration or anything of that nature, because that just wasn't the case. I totally respected and had the utmost honor in my heart for her, for what she had done for me. After much reflection time and prayer and discussion as well with my husband Eric, it became more and more obvious to me that I needed to follow through with these promptings that I was feeling inside, that I needed to have my adoption records opened. So my husband and I, with my 2 boys, because my daughter was not yet born, we made a journey to Massachusetts, to the court system there where I was adopted from. There was a sweet lady there who was more than gracious and said, "Hold on one second, honey." And she went in and interrupted the court proceedings, and next thing I knew, she came out with a piece of paper signed by the judge saying that my records could be released. We came to find out that my birth mother's name was Diana Hildreth, and my birth father was unknown. My husband and I made the journey back home, and then we got involved in searching online for my birth mother, which, if you've ever looked for a birth mother, it's very difficult to find because the birth mother's last name changes. And I too found myself in this predicament when trying to find her. I was blessed, however, in the fact that the Hildreth name, that there's actually a Hildreth genealogical web page, and I was able to get in contact with the creators of that web page, and they actually put me in contact with a Hildreth family historian. Thankfully, the family historian was able to give me my birth mother's current last name, which was extremely helpful in doing a search for someone. Now that I had located my birth mother, it came time for the gut-wrenching decision to actually follow through with all the research and the finding of her location. I scripted out exactly what I wanted to say to Diana because I honestly didn't know if I was going to ever have another opportunity to speak with her again. Here's what I scripted. "I want you to know how much I appreciate what you did for me. I can't imagine how difficult it must have been to be a pregnant teenager. It must have taken a lot of character to make it through those times. Thank you for your selfless act of love for giving me up for adoption. I want you to know that I greatly appreciate and respect you for what you did for me. You made the right decision, and I have a wonderful family. Life is a beautiful choice, and I thank you for choosing me." Diana's response to the letter was really neat. All of those thoughts that I had had of thinking that maybe she felt guilty were actually false. She knew that she had done the right thing for me. She was 16 years old, and she still had high school to finish, and she was in no means ready to provide for the needs of a baby. Fast forwarding 3 months later, I received a phone call from Diana stating that she would like to make a trip from New Jersey here to Pittsburgh to actually physically meet in person. So our family anxiously awaited the arrival of Diana and my half-brother Brian, and we were thrilled when they did finally arrive. There was that awkward sense of nervousness just because you had never met other than through a phone conversation. But I will tell you that the whole meeting went very, very well. One of the topics of our conversation while she was here in Pittsburgh was the finding of my birth father and actually trying to locate him. And actually while she was at my house, we did hop online, and it's funny, it's really easy to find a man. It's easier to find a man than it is to find a woman because there was no name change. Within a matter of minutes, we had found him and his location. After several phone conversations, it became apparent that the three of us, my birth father, birth mother, and myself, all had a great desire to actually be together at least once in our life, for all of us to be functioning as a unit and for everyone to get to meet each other as well. As I'd said before, I had always thought in searching for my birth mother that I was afraid that my birth mother had had these overwhelming sense of guilt. In all actuality, through my conversation with my birth father, it was actually my birth father that all these years had been suffering with a sense of guilt, not only about me, but also about the way he had handled everything with my birth mother. I would say that our whole family reunion was a huge success. It was wonderful for all of us to actually meet each other and to answer those unknown questions that all three of us had had through the past 30 years. It brought a great deal of healing that some of us, we didn't even know we needed healing from, and it was neat to see how God worked to heal broken relationships and bring people back together again. Throughout this whole process, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that I am so grateful for my mom and my dad, for the upbringing that they've given me, for the love, the support, the care, the compassion that they have always given to me. My sister also was huge in all of this, and the love and support that she showed me as well in terms of finding my birth mother and birth father. I will be always and forever grateful for them extending the arm of God and extending grace to me and bringing me into their home to be part of a family where I could be nurtured and loved and cared for.